Yeah, it's March 18th. It's freezing outside. And this is the kind of sky right here. You can see a little halo around the sun. The kind of sky where chemtrails would show up and persist in. Well, we're going to get a storm tomorrow. And so this may be preceding it. Whatever that is, I don't know if that's pollution or if it's old chemtrails or just regular water vapor. I don't know. But whatever that kind of thing is, like chemtrails or contrails, whatever you want to call them, makes them persist. So this would be a good day, assuming airplanes go over, to catch a bunch of trails. And I did catch a bunch. I actually made this video earlier. And none of it came out. Oh well. I wonder if this will come out. Anyways, a friend of mine asked me about chemtrails. He's seen my videos. And I had to be honest and say I really don't know what's going on. It's just a belief that I have that they're real. But just him asking me that made me check into it even deeper, because I've just been going along and filming trails here and there and not really researching it and checking into it. So I did look into it more. And to do that, you actually have to watch debunking videos, which is what I did. And some of them are good, and I'll put a link to at least one in there. And I want to mention what that one was about. Was if you happen to be noticing more trails since, I don't know, since the 90s, he's saying that part of that is due to the change in the engine designs. Like the older engines wouldn't necessarily leave a trail because they weren't as efficient. The efficient ones, it turns out, with a lot of bypass air, that the exhaust air is moving slower, and for some reason that tends to leave a contrail more often. And what they did was they tested two jet aircraft side by side in the same airspace doing the same things, and the newer engines left a trail where the old one didn't, like an old 707 or something like that. So that's a good reason to have more trails in the sky, is that more planes are leaving them because that new type of engine is prone to do that sort of thing. But just saying that doesn't debunk chemtrails. You know, they could still be putting stuff in the fuel, like I say, that I think maybe they're doing. They certainly put stuff in the fuel, we know that. I mean, there's flame retardants that they put in there. We know that they do that. It's a real thing. You know, so they could add other stuff in there that they want. And it's a proprietary mix. You can't... they don't have to disclose what's in it, I don't think, to anybody. So they could put anything in there. Chances are they're not putting tons of aluminum in the jet fuel. They still need the thing to fly, right? So I'm not saying that they're putting tons and tons of metal in the sky. But whatever, they could easily be doing something, is all I'm saying with that. But anyways, part of my belief in chemtrails comes from the movie What in the World Are They Spraying? And people have pointed out in these debunking videos that I've watched that a lot of that movie is not very scientific. It's kind of a lot of fluff, you know, a lot of hearsay, a lot of anecdotal evidence, you know, kind of like what I do. I'll just show you a chemtrail scooting across the sky, and there you go, chemtrails. Okay, so there's a lot of that in there. If you strip that stuff away, the thing that's really interesting to me is where they tested the water around this guy's place out in Northern California. And that stuff, if you look closely at it, the one where he says 61,000 parts per, what did he say? 61,000, it was 61,000 parts per billion. Which if you change that to parts per million, it's 61 parts per million. Which is a little high. It is a little high. It could probably be around, I don't know what the rainwater is, I'll have to look into that. But it's naturally, aluminum is naturally in water. Because it's the most common element in the Earth's crust. I don't know if it's element or metal, I'll have to I'll put a subscript in there. So it's naturally in your water, and it's naturally in the ground, obviously, and in the air just through dust, because it leaches out of minerals like feldspars, and feldspars break down into clays. So it's in the clay, and then if if clay turns into mud and then it dries out on your boots or whatever, and then you kick your boots, then it's dust in the air, or just, so it's naturally in the air too. So aluminum itself is not really that surprising. So it's kind of odd to me that this guy who made that video, What in the World Are They Spraying, picked aluminum, the most common element. Yeah, you're going to find it in the water. And you're going to find it in a puddle at a ski resort, which is where he took the sample. If you read the report that he shows in the movie, it doesn't say puddle, but he took it from the parking lot of a ski resort. So that, you know, that may explain why it was high. But, and the other problem I have with that movie was that the guy who they're using as an expert in biology or whatever, he listed a lot of his experience and his degrees and whatever, or he listed degrees is what he did. He said things like master's in this and degree in that, but the problem with that was that he left out the part where he says, I have a, you know, so instead of saying I have a degree in this and I have a degree in that, he just said a degree in this and a degree in that, and without using that first word. So does he have a degree in it? I don't know. Is that what he's saying? Maybe that's just a glitch in the video I watched, but I didn't catch that first part where he said that he had those degrees and he had that experience. So that's kind of sketchy. But the other good part of the movie is where he went to the conference on climate change, where they admitted that they were looking into putting particles into the atmosphere, and aluminum was one of them. And that was really the best part of that movie. The rest of it was kind of just anecdotal evidence. So if you take that movie out of my experience base, then all I have to show for the chemtrail theory is just lots of trails in the sky, and I just have no proof. I still believe that they're doing something, because to me, the way that the trails spread out, and if you, like in the summertime, you come out of the grocery store in those big parking lots, you can see the whole sky. In the summertime, it's really bad, and you're like, what the hell is that? It's just, you see trails that have spread halfway across the sky, and you can tell it's a trail because it goes in a line. I'm like, what? And they're crisscrossing, and it's disgusting, and you're like, something's wrong. So even that is not proof, but to me, that's enough to say, well, something's probably happening. Is it aluminum? Is it barium? Is it strontium? I don't know. You know, maybe this guy, maybe that whole movie and that whole series is kind of a misleading sort of thing, where he, you know, the fact that he says that, what in the world are they spraying? That just leads people to jump all over that theory and say, no, you can't, nobody's going to put sprayers on airliners. It's going to be too obvious. And that makes perfect sense to me. Obviously, it's too obvious. So the fact that he said spraying kind of hints that maybe this is a distraction from what's really going on. You know, maybe this is a psyop, as they call it. And he picked aluminum because it's going to show up. Maybe they are putting something in the air, but maybe it's not aluminum. And now here we are looking at aluminum and barium, or whatever he throws into his movie. We're looking at it, looking at that, and maybe it's something else, or, you know, maybe it's nothing at all. So that's my problem there. But it still looks gross. I mean, look at this sky. We got a white sky today. Big time. I showed trails being made in my earlier video that I tried to make, but there was a glitch with my computer or something. So here's the other version. It's too bad. That was a good version. So yeah, I'll try and put those debunking videos on. Some of them are good, and they make sense, but they never really address the... they never really prove that something's happening or not happening. I mean, I can't prove something's happening, and they can't disprove it. So it is belief. There's no doubt about that. I admit that. It comes down to belief. But they are also subject to that. Any debunker, they believe it's not happening. You know, still a belief. Can't be proved either way. Until someone from the government comes out and says, yeah, we've been doing that. We're not going to know. So is it aluminum? I've seen people do tests on here on YouTube of their rainwater. And it's within natural limits from what I've been reading, what their findings are. And the ones that are not are kind of sketchy in the way they're presented, so I'm not sure about those. I know for a fact that there's dust in the air and stuff is coming down, but, you know, it could be dust. You know. Oh, here comes an airplane now somewhere. But it could be dust. Oh yeah, there's a trail. Yeah, it's so goopy today that you can't can't even see the airplane. I'm gonna back out. What this haze is, I don't know. And he leaves a trail. I don't know what this haze is, but the trails like it, and they end up sticking around in this stuff. They certainly enjoy moisture. If you've ever seen a cloud with lots of chemtrails sticking out of it, that's why I say it's conditions based, and they're not just spraying it from a hose. And I don't believe anyone's turning these on and off either. So, how is that different from a contrail? It's not really. But, so the difference would be, what's in it? Is it just water vapor and a little regular, normal exhaust? See, that's where we're stuck. We don't know. Okay.